Don't set a New Year's resolution. I'm serious about this. It's one of these things that I think traps people. They wait till the new year to start this amazing life transformation, and they get a couple of weeks in, they're going strong, and then life happens, and then they break down and they're back to normal, and they're halfway through January or halfway through February, and they're back on the same track they were last year, and nothing ends up changing until the end of the next year, in which case they set the same New Year's resolution or something similar, and the cycle repeats itself. My advice to you is to not set a New Year's resolution. Just don't. But if you're going to, set it as a habitual change, a small change, something that you're going to work on over time, right? Not this massive, I'm going to go to the gym every day, 5 days a week when you don't train at all, but just small incremental changes, something that's actually can be accomplished. It's very motivating to go, oh, I'll make this big change, but in the reality of how your brain works, it's just not going to happen. Because if you were capable of making such a massive change that you're going to put into this New Year's resolution, you would have done it already. I mean, there's nothing special about the first day of the year, right? As humans, we like to have this, all our ducks in a row, sort of this OCD style thing where it's like, oh, it's the new year, it's the new month, it's the new first day of the week, whatever. We're going to start something. This sort of tendency to want to start things at a particular time or have things set around certain dates impacts things even like the stock market. Prices will hover at whole numbers for longer than they would historically, right? So that's what you get, this sort of up or down trend, because humans value numbers in a weird way, even though like logically there's no real reason. In the same sense, January 1st is the same as any other day. It's just another day. So if you really did truly care about eating well, or quitting smoking, or starting an exercise regime, what are you waiting for? Start right now. I'm recording this on the 29th. Why not start now? What is actually stopping you, other than the desire to start it on a new year? If you care about this goal, you would already be doing it, or you should start it now. Don't eat the cake, right? I remember when I first went down this path, I'd be like, I'm going to start a diet tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And what I would do on the day before the diet was gorge, because it's like, oh, this is going to be the last time I can eat that cake. And surprise, surprise, my diet failed. A better approach is to work out what you value, work out what you want to accomplish, and slowly start chipping away at it. Make it a lifestyle change. Implement things that will impact your life in a way that's small and subtle, but doable on a day-to-day basis. Because, and I'm sure you've gone through this. You've implemented a diet, exercise regime, started practicing something, started studying something, started trying to change a major habit, but you've gone too hard. And then life happens. Something happens with the kids or the parents or work or your health or whatever, money, and you find that you just can't keep up that same schedule. And then, a couple of weeks pass and you're back to where you used to be. And the reason this is the case is that we're creatures of habit. So if you try and go, bang, I'm going to do this thing super quick straight away, it doesn't quite work out. It doesn't quite sync. But over time, if you make those small changes, eventually you'll find that your life is slowly changing to go down that path. Weightlifting is a good analogy for this. If you put on a heavy weight and just try to push, you'll either hurt yourself or you won't be able to budge the bar. But if over time you started light and then you got heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier, eventually you'll be able to do that heavy weight without even thinking about it. That'll be your warm-up. But it takes time, right? It takes time not only to develop the muscle strength, but also to develop the habits. Because, right now, if we take weightlifting or lift exercise as an example, that exercise takes time. Where's that time going to come from? Right now, you're full of motivation. You're going, I'm going to do this thing. So you're willing to sacrifice the TV or the socializing or the family time or whatever it is. But in a month, are you going to be still as equally motivated? What about in 6 months? Are you still going to be able to go, no, I'm not going to go out drinking because I need to get up and lift weights in the morning, right? Maybe, but probably not, because you're not used to it, because the motivation will drop. And the motivation drop is another key factor. I like to run on like a morning routine, because I know that if I get up and I do exercise, I meditate and I write and I just do it every day, I get those things done. There's no factor, there's no question. It's not a matter of motivation. It's just a matter of what I do. You know, in the same way, like, you'll have showers or brush your teeth every day. You're not like super pumped, but it's just what you do, right? If you could add that stuff to your life, if you can establish a morning routine, yeah, or at least, you know, my New Year's resolution is to figure out and establish and implement a morning routine, so that by the end of 2020, I'm getting up every day and I'm doing X, Y, Z. That's probably something that is accomplishable, provided you go slow. I've got a Skillshare course out. I'll put a link down below to it on establishing a morning routine. You get 2 months free access if you use the link. But it goes into depth with this on different ways to establish the morning routine. But the key takeaway is that start slow. Just start slow, in the sense of add 1 minute of meditation, add 1 minute of exercise. And I use those examples because they're my examples, but it's whatever your examples. 1 minute of cleaning, 1 minute of whatever, right? And then add a second, add a third minute, add a fourth minute. And eventually you'll build up your morning, and you'll find that you'll take away that slack time and you'll be able to start doing things. And then after a couple of months, you'll start to see noticeable improvements. With exercise, you'll start feeling fitter. With meditation, you'll start feeling mentally clear. With cleaning, the house will start looking relatively clean. You'll be starting to struggle to find stuff to do, right? All of this is a approach that you can take, but it won't happen with a massive push. Those massive pushes are great, you know, pull out the motivation when you need to do something in that moment, but as a long-term change, it's not going to happen. It just can't be maintained. And if it could be maintained, you're probably already doing it, and therefore setting a resolution to do something particular isn't going to really help you. You're already doing the thing. So for me personally, what am I going to try and implement? Well, I've started, like I said, with my morning routine. I've added the writing every day. And I found that for me to be one of the greatest things for not only my mental state, but my writing productivity. Prior to implementing this, I was, you know, I'm working on Lucidity. I've got it here, novel. I'm at about 14,000 words. Prior to doing it this approach, I was doing it with the motivation approach. When I'm motivated to write, I'll write. And I sort of got stuck at around 5,000 to 7,000 words, somewhere in there. I got stuck on a hard bit. And I would sit down when I was motivated, and I tried to do it once every week or 2 weeks, and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to write. And then I was stuck. And that session passed. Not many words added, if any. And then it would come back, and, you know, a week or two would swing by, I feel motivated again, I'd try again. Nothing. And I was getting quite downtrodden with it. I was feeling like, well, you know, can I do this? Am I a writer? Is this possible? Because I just wasn't adding words to it. I wasn't getting past this challenging bit. And then I realized, it's like, okay, well, in the same way that I meditate daily and I exercise daily with my mornings, I should just write. I should just do it. Sit down for an hour and just stare at the screen. And if I don't write something, I don't write it. And if I do write something, great, I have. And what I found was, by sitting down and forcing myself there, that first day or that second day, I was able to just start. And, you know, the first day I think I wrote trash, but I got through that hard bit. And then on the second and the third and the fourth days, I was able to fix up that trash that I wrote, get past that hump, and now I'm at about 14 to 15 to 17,000 words, because I've been slowly adding to it every day. Today I only did it for maybe 20 to 30 minutes because, you know, life happens and that sort of stuff. But I'm chipping away at this every day. So my resolution for New Year's is to write daily. And I've already started doing that process because I value it. I don't have to wait until an arbitrary date to start, because I want it. If you want something, start now. There is no reason, there's no particular time or reason or anything that you should wait for. What I'm going to do for the people listening, so if you're watching the video, you'll have to click the link down below, but from my book, How to Get Your Shit Together, I'm going to share a chapter called It's Never the Right Time. So basically the summary of this chapter is that you're always going to have an excuse. You're always going to find a reason not to do something. There's always problems with work or with family or money issues or health issues, or you don't think you know enough, or there's other things to do, whatever. There's always a reason not to do something. The lights are never always green, and yet people act regardless. Look at every famous, every successful, every person that has accomplished anything of worth. Now, obviously, their lives are different to yours, and different genes, different upbringings, all that sort of stuff. But everyone has their cross to bear, right? Everyone has issues. And if you look into the backstories and the autobiographies of all of these people, they're always going to be like, yeah, I struggled here, 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 here. They list through because, everyone has a life to live. So with that in mind, if you realize that people have issues that they're going to work through, and yet they push through it and accomplished it anyway, then you can apply that logic back to you and go, okay, these successful people had issues and challenges to overcome. A lot of them probably thought they couldn't, but they pushed through and tried anyway. If I push through and try anyway, I might be able to accomplish some stuff. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily big, massive goals, but this could be like losing the weight, or starting a hobby, or changing the career, or finishing school, whatever it is. It will never feel like the right time, but you've got to act regardless. And for me personally, the best way that I find to act regardless is to set a morning routine, just because it gets it done. Motivation aside, excuses aside, I'm here and I'm doing the work. This is what works for me. So for the people on the video, signing off, people on the listening via audio, I will play you the chapter of How to Get Your Shit Together called It's Never the Right Time. Like I've said just before I go, this book is out and available as a paperback, ebook, and audiobook. And if you grab yourself a copy, it's a great way of supporting the podcast here. And I'll put the link down below so you can read it as well. Catch ya.